Kamal. What was the song you were singing today, Tom?
Thanks to Warner Brothers Games, I got invited to take a look at the upcoming release from Turtle Rock Studios, the studio behind the great idea but poor execution of Evolve, but more importantly, the Left 4 Dead series. Turtle Rock have returned to the horde shooter genre in Back 4 Blood, which basically tries to act like Left 4 Dead 3, and while it's got the bones of the Left 4 Dead series, it can't quite recapture the magic of Left 4 Dead, but that doesn't mean it's not fun. Now, as it is a beta, I'm not going to give a review score, but not even that I really give a score anyways. But this is more of a impressions and initial thoughts on Back 4 Blood. Also, the beta ran pretty well and smoothly. Now, around this time last year, I played the Avengers beta, and yeah, that was rough. Now, if you've played Left 4 Dead before, then Back 4 Blood is exactly the same thing with some small changes. For starters, Left 4 Dead is a zombie virus, where Back 4 Blood is a parasite contagion, turning people into zombies. It's a huge difference. But joking aside, it's a 4-player horde shooter just like Left 4 Dead, where you and 3 other players, or AI, will need to move from point A to point B to take out hordes of enemies with special variants coming in trying to stop you, and you need to go from safe room to safe room that breaks up the level and gives you a bit of a brief rest. Now, the beta only had 8 different areas, or zones if you will, and that's from what I can gather would be roughly maybe 2 levels, but hey, maybe it's one big level. One will have you starting in a apartment lobby, making your way to a extraction point, going through swamps and tunnels and mines and small towns, and even blowing up a ferry on the way as well.
The zombie dropped down just as I was like planting.
And that's what's been great with the beta. With these levels and zones, players got to experience a heap of different environments. Unlike Left 4 Dead and borrowing more from Evolve, the characters here in Back 4 Blood have special abilities. The character of your mum, who was my go-to character, could revive one character super quick once per level, which came in handy when I had a gung-ho friend deviating away from the tour group. Other characters will start off with, say, more stamina or be able to drop ammo boxes for allies to pick up and use when they get low on ammo. Gameplay-wise though, it's basically the same thing as Left 4 Dead, and hey, there's nothing wrong with that, seeing as Back 4 Blood is basically Left 4 Dead 3. There are some changes with the gunplay, making it a bit more modern, but also takes some mechanics from battle royales like Warzone and Apex Legends. You can use iron sights with some weapons, unless of course it's a melee weapon, duh. You can also equip weapon attachments and upgrades, and this is where the Warzone mechanics start to come in. You'll find attachments and weapons out in the field that will be different colours with different buffs. Now, just like in Destiny or The Division or most looter shooters, grey is normal, green is uncommon, etc, etc. There's magazine upgrades, there's scopes, ammo types, barrel upgrades, and even stock upgrades. However, the one thing they didn't add is the ability to remove attachments. For example, you can find out in the field an auto shotgun. You know, the one that Terry Crews uses in The Expendables. But it'll have something stupid like a sniper rifle scope on it. So if you want to remove that scope, you'll either need to find another scope out in the field, or buy another scope to replace it. That's another new mechanic where out in the world you can find copper, which is the in-game currency. Copper can be used in safe rooms to buy new weapons or attachments, or heal yourself, or buying items like toolkits and medkits and grenades, or even upgrading all players' maximum health or ammo capacity or stamina. It's not a bad system, and it kinda makes players span out and search for copper, rather than just beelining straight for the next safe room. It also comes in handy too, as I found that with separate groups of friends I was playing with, they would all call out what they had bought, and a toolkit would always be most useful in our situations. However, what might not be everyone's cup of tea is the card system. Yep, it's a system that's previously been done in other video games and also generally has a connection somehow to the dreaded microtransactions.
I bad want money now. Me sick.
Ooh, he card reads good.
Now there is a card system here, and where at the start of each round you get to pick a perk, which is a card that'll be like 20% reloading speed, or carrying 50% more ammo, or 20% more stamina, and yes, again, there is stamina here and it is used when you're sprinting or using a melee weapon. However, while you equip buffs, the game also equips nerfs too, such as coating the area in thick fog so you can't see anything, or having security doors that if a player opens it, it sounds an alarm that summons a horde of zombies, or making even standard zombies tougher and they require headshots to go down. It's a system when I first looked at it, I had myself scratching my bald head and basically skipping past it, but after spending about 10 minutes with it and reading the cards, it started to come in handy. The only question is, will there be microtransactions for this system?
It's Kern, stupid!
No, it's not.
Disregard.
However, I've also played with some mates that absolutely refused to put even 10 seconds into reading the card system, and they just wanted to go out and shoot zombies.
I don't even want to spend 5 minutes, to be honest.
I cannot afford to give 5 minutes of my life.
Speaking of zombies, yes, there's special zombies here, and they aren't really that special. They're basically copy and paste special zombies from Left 4 Dead. For example, there's fat zombies that will barf on you and they will explode when they die, just like the boomer in Left 4 Dead. There's special zombies that will climb the wall and spit at you and either damage you with the webbing or tie you up like Spider-Man, making you vulnerable to attacks until a team member comes along and frees you. I also found myself referring to these special zombies as boomers and spitters and chargers or big boy, not actually referring to them as their in-game character names. That's actually my biggest gripe so far in playing the beta. It could be that they're keeping the new special enemies for the full game release, but the only new enemy that interests me was the Ogre, which is, well, a giant variant that rips a hole out of the ground and comes charging at you. Everything else was a copy-paste from Left 4 Dead, and they just changed the name and changed the design slightly. Now also, in Left 4 Dead, each special enemy variant was, well, special. Each variant had iconic music and sound effects and eerily creepy sounds which still haunt me to this day.
Oh shit, the witch is getting riled up.
There is no real version of the witch, at least in the beta, and again they might be adding more special enemies for the full release, but the only new thing that I could pick up was really the birds. There are flocks of birds that look special in some way because their eyes glow and they look a little different colour, and if you shoot or go near them, it'll call the horde. Despite the fact that I'm constantly firing guns and birds don't seem to care as long as I don't get near them or I don't shoot them. Dude, my dog gets scared when I drop a cardboard box on the ground. I don't understand how these birds have balls of steel. There's also a versus mode here where, unlike in Left 4 Dead where a group of players try to play the campaign while other players try to stop them as special enemy variants, here it's a little at least in my opinion. Basically, the group of survivors set up makeshift defenses and try to survive for as long as they can, while the enemy team tries to take them out. On top of, a swarm of locusts or a swarm of bugs slowly closes in around them, a little bit like a battle royale. Now after the round ends, the team swap sides and you'll need to try and beat their time. I mean, it's fine, but during my time playing this, we experienced people dropping out of the game as soon as they realise they can't win, leaving the remaining players to basically just sit there and accept the fate.
Oh, Dudi, tell me you're recording that. Oh my god.
Fucking stupid, it shouldn't happen.
Lastly, in the beta there are 3 difficulty settings. Easy, which honestly works to just play casually, chatting with friends and having a beer in the background, or medium, which just increases the friendly fire damage in the game, and hard, which is insanely hard. Hard mode, you need to pay attention to what weapons you have, what cards you have equipped, and what further buffs you need. Back 4 Blood isn't really anything new. It's the same gameplay style, it's the same special enemies, it's still zombies and going from safe house to safe house, but it's got some modern updates and additions to it like the copper system and weapons and attachments and characters having abilities. But it also goes to show that the gameplay from the Left 4 Dead series is still entertaining and fun. Back 4 Blood's beta was completely crossplay too, and finding a game was super quick. Back 4 Blood releases on October 13th, and yes, when it releases, I'll be coming back to see how it's changed from the beta, what other additions there are, and give my final thoughts on the finished product.